Premium bonds are really popular with savers still, despite the fact we've had such high rates in other savings accounts over the last year. So how much could you possibly win with them? Could you get that £1 million top prize? Well, yeah, of course you could. There's a chance you could win. It's very unlikely, but there is a chance you could get either that top prize or one of the other really, really high prizes that they will come through every single month via this savings option. But equally, you could win far, 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 far less. In fact, you could win nothing at all. The most common result every single month for all your premium bonds that you own is zero, no return at all. What I did last year, which was really interesting, was I had a couple of friends share with me over a 6-month period how much they had won from their premium bonds, in which they'd invested the full £50,000 into the accounts each. Now, in theory, the more you have in those accounts, the greater chance you have of winning more often and get a bigger return, because every single one of those £1 bonds is entered into that draw every single month. So therefore, it makes sense, doesn't it? If you've got 50,000 of them, you've got a better chance of winning than someone who has 25,000, 10,000, 500, or just that solitary one bond, which is, although the minimum is £25 now, if you had it in the past, you may well have just one bond that you've got. So they shared the results with me last year over a 6-month period. It's now been a year, and I thought it'd be a good time to update it and see how it fared. A really good comparison of premium bonds over 12 months, the people who are in theory most likely to win those bigger prizes and get closest to that prize rate. Plus, I had another friend come forward and say after that last piece of content and saying they've also got 50k in premium bonds and they were happy to share their results as well. So we've got 3 different individuals, 3 different people, all with the same amount in premium bonds for the exact same duration of time from the start of April 2023 until the beginning of May 2024. So we've got 12 draws to look at. So what I'll do, I'll take you through how they all fared. Then I'll look at how that compares to the prize rate, the average prize rate over that 12-month period, because it did change a few times, went up and then it also went down a little. And then I want to look at how that compares to savings rates, normal savings accounts, easy access accounts in that same period, and whether they would have been better off putting their money over there than into premium bonds. So saver number 1. Saver number 1's prizes fared from 0, and I should say that all 3 of our savers here had 1 month where they had no prize at all, which I say is to be expected, but from 0 up to 1 month in November of 2023 where the number of different prizes, it wasn't a single prize, a number of prizes added together to £325. Although most of the prizes this person won were around that kind of £50 mark. So winning 11 out of 12 months, but not necessarily winning big every single month. Now the total they got over that 12-month period in prizes, £1,425, which give an average rate, an average return on that 50k of 2.85%. Now, if you did watch or read my content about this from 6 months ago, that's a big improvement because they were on like about 1% or so, 1.1%. So the second half of the year absolutely massively improved for them. But overall, over a year, a return of 2.85%. Now let's look at saver number 2 now. And they also, as I said, had a month with nothing, but they actually won much more every single month. Although there was a prize of £25 only in February 24 and £50 in July 2023, those 3 months were the only ones where their prizes were lower than 100 quid. And in fact, most of them were more than 200 quid. And there was 1 month in March 2024 when their combined prizes, all the prizes in that month, added up to a whopping £1,000, which was obviously, they were very, very happy with, they told me. I'm not surprised. I'd have been happy with that if I had premium bonds. Now, their total prize amount over the year was £2,950, giving them an effective win rate, an effective return of 5.9%, which is more than double what Saver 1 got. So this is a really good example here of showing you how if someone is doing well in premium bonds, that means somewhere in the universe, somewhere in the premium bond system, someone's not doing as well. Although on a more extreme case, you've got the £1 million winner, means that there are loads of people on 1 million bonds not winning anything at all. This is a kind of almost perfect example, because if you average out those two, as we come to later on, you actually see how close on average that is to the average prize rate in that period. But anyway, that's saver number 2, do it really, really, really well, 5.9% return. Now this is saver number 3 one now. This is the new person who wasn't involved in the last time I did this comparison. And theirs is, again, 1 month with nothing, There was a couple of months with £50 prizes, but other than that, they tended to win between £100 and £200 every single month. There was, however, one big month with a £700 prize, well, combination of prizes in that month. Now, that meant a total prize fund over the year of £2,225 and an effective win rate of 4.45%. So roughly, not exactly, but roughly in between Saver 1 and Saver 2. Again, really good indication here of how premium bonds are random, and it is all complete luck. You can have the full £50,000 in there and have very different experiences. And there will be many people, you guys, I'm sure, watching this or listening to this right now, will be saying, yeah, but I got more or I got less. Again, and this is based, remember, on someone with £50,000. 3 people had £50,000 in. If you had less in there, then your chances are your prize rate could be a lot lower, would be a lot lower, but there will be some people with lower amounts who also happen to get one really big prize or a number of big prizes who could have a prize rate which is, again, comparable to any one of these, Saver 1, Saver 2, or Saver 3. So that's how they compared with each other, which I think is really interesting. But how does that compare with the actual prize rates itself? Now, as I said, it did change during that 12-month period. It moved up a few times in a row, and it stayed where it was for a long time. And then in early 2024, in March 2024, so the last 3 draws there, it dropped down a little bit. So it gave us an average prize rate of 4.38%. So that means, as I said, Saver number 3 wasn't very far off. They did slightly better than that, 4.38%. So they were maybe, I think it was like 30, 40 quid more they got in premium bonds than the average rate of luck would suggest they would. Okay, so that was good news for them. Saver 2 obviously did a lot better. Saver 1 obviously did a lot worse. What's interesting, though, is if you average out Saver 1 and 2, you get 4.38%. As I said, it was so close. It's exactly the average prize rate between the two. And if you factor in Saver 3, it's just a little bit above that. So this, I mean, I'm amazed how this has worked out. It's obviously a complete fluke for me to get 3 examples where, say, the loser and the winner average out at the prize rate and the other person was almost bang on it. But that just, again, showing again that premium bonds, average rate of luck, most people will get that. It just shows you that some will do better, some will do worse, but it really is a mix of things. So we've established that the chances of winning, it's already random. You could do well, you could do not so well, you could do bang on average. The next question, though, is, are premium bonds better than savings? Are they a useful alternative to having your money in a savings account? Now, over this exact same period, I looked at the best buy easy access accounts at one point every single month. So this is not going to be a perfect example. And obviously, a lot of people wouldn't have been moving their money. I've looked at this. You'd move your money maybe 5 times in a year to get these rates. You might also be able to get higher rates with things like regular savers and other kind of special offers. But I'm taking the top easy access account in that same period, so April 2023 all the way through to the beginning of May 2024. And that gives us an average savings rate of 4.87%. So straight away, it doesn't take you much to realise that that is better than an average rate of 4.38%. Of course, we know that the Saver number 2 way outdid that. So it is possible to do better with premium bonds than having that average savings rate. But we also know a lot of people won't do as well. And what's really important to know here as well is that interest rate, that 4.87 average, is a guaranteed amount. You are definitely going to get it. And it looks like for most people, it makes perfect sense, much more sense to put your money in easy access accounts than putting it into premium bonds, simply because you're definitely going to get a return. You might miss out on the chance of winning bigger, but you're definitely going to get a decent return from it. But sadly, it's not as simple as that, because what you need to remember is that the prizes on premium bonds are tax-free, whereas your money held in a normal savings account, well, some of that is going to be taxed. It depends on your earnings, quite how much of that is going to be. Now, if you are a non-taxpayer, you've got your 12.5 grand tax allowance, plus you've got the starter rate of savings, so you'll be absolutely fine. You're not going to be paying any tax on your money there. You would get that 4.87%. But if you're a basic rate taxpayer, only that first £1,000 of interest that you'd have would be tax-free. The rest of it will be taxed at 20%. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, only the first £500 of interest that you would earn would be tax-free. Then you'll pay 40% tax on everything above that. And if you're an additional rate taxpayer, well, that basically means you get no tax-free allowance on your normal savings. You're paying 45% on the lot. And this impacts the return, actual equivalent of return you'd get if you just put 50 grand into that savings account. Now, if you're a basic rate taxpayer, it means the effective return, the equivalent rate return, is 4.3%. Now, that is lower than that average price rate of the premium bonds that period of 4.38%. So you're thinking, well, okay, in that case, suddenly premium bonds are better than putting my money in an easy access account. And that's if you're a 20% tax rate payer. If you pay 40% tax rate, suddenly that equivalent rate after the personal savings allowance is taken into account drops down to 3.32%. And an additional rate taxpayer drops down to 2.68%. So all of this evidence would suggest premium bonds are going to be better for you than putting your money into the best easy access savings account. But again, there's another thing tax allowance for taking into account, and that's ISAs. Don't forget, every year you can put 20k into your ISA accounts, and that any returns you get there are tax-free. Now, there might be prudent of you, make more sense for you to put that money into a stocks and shares ISA. Some of you might also be having some money in a lifetime ISA, saving for your first home, perhaps. So that again, though, if not, if you can use your ISA for cash savings. Suddenly, you've not just got the amount of interest you can earn in your personal savings allowance if you're a basic or higher rate taxpayer. You've also got more money on top of that you can put into your ISA, and that suddenly makes the amount you have left over that will be taxed a lot smaller. You could, of course, put that money that's left over into premium bonds, and potentially there's a chance you'll win even more on top of that. But as we've established, the chances are the less money you have in premium bonds, the less entries you have into the draw every single month, the less chance you've got of winning. And in fact, the less you have goes lower and down, the greater chance of nothing at all. I still would imagine, though, we're talking here if you're a basic rate taxpayer, if you've got, let's say for ease, you're saying £20,000 in an easy access account, that will get you your £1,000 tax-free, another £20,000 into your cash ISA, then you've got £10,000 in premium bonds. £10,000 is still going to bring you some returns. So again, that's going to give you more tax-free returns on top of that. It's certainly worth a go. If you're a high rate taxpayer, then you have less in that easy access account, maybe £10,000. Again, it does vary on what rate you're getting for those savings. I'm just doing a rough example here. Then £20,000 in ISA, another 20k into your premium bonds. You'd hope to win even more on top of that. So that kind of stacking together would certainly appear to be the best option there. And of course, if you're an additional rate taxpayer, then ISAs, yes, absolutely. Then premium bonds, absolutely. Particularly, again, we're talking about with these examples at the top of people with £50,000. That kind of, to me, is probably the best way of doing it. But finally, I just want to acknowledge the fact that £50,000 is a lot of money. I don't have £50,000 in premium bonds. I'm sure many of you don't as well. And total savings that you may well have, if you are taking advantage of your tax-free PSA, personal savings allowance, you are taking advantage of your ISA allowance, or at least some of it. Even that, most people, they're not going to go beyond that. That is going to be absolutely more than enough for the amount I have in savings. If you've got anything left over that, and we're talking hundreds of pounds, maybe low thousands of pounds, putting them into premium bonds might not be worth it because the chances of winning anything are really, really low, as I say. So you might be better off just putting them into a normal account and paying some tax on that interest, even if it is going to really drastically reduce how much you get. So it's something to bear in mind there. For most people, if you don't have those huge amounts of cash to put into savings, once you've taken advantage of other allowances, it might not make as much sense. And of course, the other thing to consider here is, do you really need to have that amount of money in savings? That is a lot of money to be having. Unless it's something very specific that you are saving for, a lot of people, really, the most you'd be thinking about having in savings is 3 to 6 months of emergency funds. And then the rest of it, you're better off possibly investing it for the longer term, where hopefully you'd see larger growth, or using it to put more into your pension, and particularly if you can get match contributions from your employer or more tax relief going into that, really bulking that up with the caveat you can't access it until you are much older, or maybe overpaying on your mortgage. Again, this is assuming that you've already cleared all your debts in the first place. So I guess the ultimate conclusion here is premium bonds are fun. It's great to see what you're going to win every single month. And if you are someone who has already used up your different tax allowances and you need to have a lot of money available to you in cash, they are well worth having a look at. But for everybody else, focus instead on where you can get the best return, the highest guaranteed return, particularly if you have smaller amounts where your chances of winning on premium bonds, as we say, are greatly reduced. Get that guaranteed return. Now, if you want to find the best top paying savings accounts, don't forget, every single day, myself and the team are updating becleverwithyourcash.com/savings with the highest rates across easy access, fixes, ISAs, the works, so you can work out what is the best rate for you right now. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, cheers.